In the simplest words,
Okay, Tyler, go ahead and explain how quizzes work.
you should do them, but they aren't graded.
Right.
They are good to help you understand the subject matter and learn.
And learn.
But they are not graded.
And they prepare you for
the test.
There you go.
I have curiosity. How many actually did the quizzes last semester?
How many quizzes?
How many people actually did the quizzes?
Like
Wait,
four.
ask that question again, sorry?
How many people last semester actually did the quizzes?
I don't know. I don't grade them. Why would I do more work? I give you the answers as well. What would be the point? No, the point of this is just to make sure, to reinforce the key concepts so you get ready for the midterm, and it's just a way to review. So do attempt the quizzes. I recommend them, but I'm not going to take a grade, so keep that in mind. But yeah, let's go ahead and do the first quiz, which I forgot to go over last class. So what's the purpose of object wrappers, and what is an example?
It's like nesting almost.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
you can put code inside of code.
Okay. Right, so you're nesting some piece of code inside of essentially an object. So we're using object wrappers, aka the word object. You're wrapping some piece of code inside of an object. This is really good when you're doing procedural and you want to migrate to object-oriented programming. You take your procedural code and you basically wrap it inside of an object. What's a good example? There are tons of examples.
Could you say a function, like using a function?
I mean, yeah, you could take a function and wrap it around, but what would be a concrete example of that you may have used or we've talked about? Phoning a friend there for an answer?
Yes.
What does he say?
I don't know any answer.
Wow. How many of those do you get? You get
Hopefully more. 'Cause
All right. A good example here is the integer class with capital I wraps around a primitive int inside of Java. So primitive int has its capability, but the object class integer takes those capabilities and adds a couple more things to them, namely being able to convert to other to double, float, byte, and a couple other capabilities. All right. What's the difference between public and private methods, and when do you use either? Ooh, here we go.
Public methods can be accessed by anyone.
Okay, so public's accessed by anyone, and private.
Cannot be changed by another class or function.
Okay, it can't be changed, not just changed, but it can't be
Accessed.
accessed by another class. So why would we do this?
Public methods are good for like teamwork code. If somebody sees what you've done wrong and they want to go back in and fix it.
Okay, yeah, so your public is visible to everyone so they can see what you're providing or what functionality you're providing to everyone. And then, sorry, I didn't follow the rest. And then,
Like if they see something wrong or if they see something that can make it better, they can access it and fix it.
so the programmer isn't rewriting your public method.
Public is good for main. It's good
For-
for mains. And then the method you put into your main should be private. That you are writing. So
Okay,
each person puts their own private into it.
why would we make them private?
So whoever else is working on it won't change your code.
Won't change your code.
You won't have the ability to change it.
Maybe won't call functions you don't want them to call. Right. So the question is, why would you want them not to call certain functions?
They're not needed.
They're not needed at this point. Don't give more functionality than is necessary. So yeah, public's an interface to anyone using your class, and private's to hide functionality that may change over time. A great example of this is we'll talk about a list class, which just
Bless
keeps
you.
track. Yeah, bless you.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Bless you again.
Right?
You done? Yeah.
Color breeze.
A list class, which just has capabilities of adding to the list, searching the list, looking through the list. But there's many different ways to implement that, and you don't need to know how it's implemented. You just need to know how to use it. So the public interface is how it's used, and the private functionality is how it's currently implemented. But the private stuff could change over time, and that's perfectly fine because everyone's just using your public interface. All right, what's the relationship between a class and an object?
Should I do the old metaphor here?
Sure. I don't think we've used that metaphor here. Go
Like
ahead.
the blueprint metaphor?
Yeah, the blueprint.
Yeah, the class is the blueprint for your object.
Right.
Your object is what you build from your blueprint.
So if you have a class, do you have the class and just the class? Do you have an object?
No.
No. But you can create an object from the blueprint, aka the class. So just because you have the blueprint of a house doesn't mean you've created the house. Although you can create any number of houses from the blueprint, there's still just one blueprint. So the class is the blueprint of the object. That's the easiest way to keep this straight. All right. What are some benefits of encapsulation? Ooh, what is encapsulation? Vanessa?
Kind of like wrapping.
Kind of like wrapping. It could be.
Protection is a benefit. It's like hiding things.
Hiding,
that don't
yes.
need to be seen.
So they don't be seen. So the stuff that's hidden or encapsulated would be public or private? Private, right. So what would be a benefit of having everything private or certain things private?
Protection.
Protection, right. So other people don't access certain functions that may change your code. Yeah.
It'll make your code look cleaner.
Code look cleaner. Okay, yeah, because you would just have your public.
Simplify it.
Yeah, you just have the public, which other people access, and that's the only thing they care about, and then they don't need to know about your private stuff. So that helps with something called abstraction. Then you just think of your object as the public interface, and you can take care of all the dirty work with the private. Okay, those are two good ones. Anything else?
It keeps not so smart people from trying to go overboard.
Not so smart people from going overboard.
From taking everything they can get.
Okay, yeah, using every piece of functionality for whatever reason. All right. All right. Let's see, what I got? Maintenance, changing the inner working without affecting others' code. I think you mentioned that. Abstraction. And then reuse. Again, by having a public interface, you know how to just reuse the code. If you want to just reuse an object, you can just stick with the public interface. You know if you can reuse it or not. So, three big things. Maintenance going forward, if you have to change something, if it's private that you're changing, you only have to fix it in that object. You don't have to go to everyone else's code. Abstraction, you can think of the object as just a public method, so it helps you, and then you don't have to worry about the implementation, so it helps simplify how you're thinking of the code. And then reuse, it also, since it's simplifying how you're thinking of the object, you can have an easier time reusing it. All right, any questions on the quiz? Okay, so let me go ahead and